We can't wait to go to the UK Games Expo, and these are the things that we're most excited about.
Hi, I'm Julian and this is Libby, and we are from BoxedMeeples on YouTube, on Instagram and on Twitter.
We are talking about the UK Games Expo. We are super excited to be going up there, starting from Thursday evening for a sort of pre-show, all the way through to Sunday over this bank holiday weekend in the UK.
We've never been to Board Game Expo before. I've been to various video game expos, but I've never been to a board game one, so I'm quite excited by it. I don't completely know what to expect, but that excites me too.
Yes, that would be fun. So what's the thing that you're sort of most looking forward to?
So as I said, we've not been to a board game expo before, but I'm keen to do things that you can only really do at these expos. And one of them is painting. I'm going to have a Friday largely to myself because
I'm going to be working on the Friday at the show, so you're kind of free to roam, investigate, find all the best things, reserve all the good games, and then we'll have the rest of the weekend and the evenings to play and enjoy ourselves.
So I don't want to get too heavily involved in games I know you're going to be interested in, because then that might mean I've got to play games twice, and with limited time I don't want to play the same game twice. There rules. I think there's 450 games or something going to be there. Something just being exhibited, let alone all the library of games. So I don't really want to play one game twice.
But there are going to be some things that you're going to find and be super excited about on the Friday.
And I'll drag you to it and say,
I'm going to need to see it. So there will be some lap over, but if it's a 3 or 4 hour epic, you're probably not going to
I'm not
do
be doing
that again.
Twice.
So you're not playing Arcanova on Friday.
No, but one thing I'd like to do is Games Workshop, or maybe they're called Warhammer now, I'm not completely sure. That shows how long ago it's been since I played one of these games. But I used to play a lot of Warhammer. I think it's now called Warhammer Age of Sigmar. When I was younger, we're talking 25 years ago, and I used to really love painting the models. I had more time on my hands then. I didn't have children and work, but I found it really relaxing to paint these models. And I've seen that on various stands are the ability to get a model for free and paint it. And I would like to see if I still can. I used to be not tremendous, but I used to be passable at doing it. And like I said, I enjoy the process. Having seen some videos on YouTube though, it seems like a completely different thing now. Before it was just base colour, dry brush, wash, done. Now there's contrast paints and all sorts of airbrushing and madness I've got no idea about. So if I have an experience, the chance to get a model, use their paints and see if I can actually do it, then that's something I'd like to do, because it's quite expensive to set up to be able to do this. And we've got lots of models, kind of miniature based games that I think would be tremendous if they were painted, but I don't want to do a bad job.
No, I'm super interested in painting, but I know at the moment it's not something I have time to get into. I'm hoping maybe 6 months or a year down the line it might be something I really can, and I think it's something with a lot of practice I could get better at, because I am in some ways an artist. I have done glass painting and things like that before, so I think I have a bit of an eye for detail, so hopefully I'd be okay at it. But I'm a bit nervous because I know that I can be quite self-critical, so if these things aren't exactly as I imagined them, I would be super disappointed. So I'd have to get great before I could re-release.
The last thing I want to do is ruin a favourite game by being bad at painting, especially if I spend 30, 40, 50 pounds buying paints to be able to do it in the first place. So getting a chance to experiment and see if I can still do it is something
that's going to be super fun.
Like to.
Yeah.
What about you?
And I'm interested to see the results of that. We've been talking to a lot of people, ones that we've done Kickstarter videos to, ones that we've been chatting to on social media, and I think we've made quite a few friends in the gaming industry now, but we haven't really met anyone because of how things have been in the last couple of years. So I'm actually really excited to go up to some of our, what I'd hope to call friends now, and actually meet them in the flesh.
We've seen when we've been discussing, because we've done some Kickstarter videos of people, and we've seen them on video chat, so we know what they look like. They're not we look like, obviously, from seeing the videos, but it was just nice to just actually spend some real time with people, maybe play a game with them.
That would be fantastic.
We speak to so many lovely people on Discord or on YouTube comments or just through Twitter and Instagram, and at the moment they're kind of these faceless avatars really, They're people who exist in the real world, and it'd be lovely to actually just see them.
Yeah. And we have made some plans for some people that we chat to on various Discord channels or that comment on our YouTube videos and things like that, to actually try to meet up and find games that we like in common and actually sit down at a table and game, as well as those that are on stands that we just want to sort of pop by and say hi to. So I think the whole meeting people, organising games with them and, just sort of firming up friendships is just going to be super exciting. I'm really looking forward to that social element of the show.
Yeah, one group of people I've been talking to quite a bit is Board Game Extras. I think anyone who's seen some of our videos know I love print and play games. I've been in quite a lot of them. And you might have seen I really push the boat out and get little cubes and, miniatures recently. A company I've used quite a lot is Board Game Extras. And I spoke to them on Twitter, and they're going to be doing like a board game component pick and mix.
You're going to be like a child in a sweet shop.
Literally like a child in a sweet shop.
Hoping for a paper bag and to fill up with the weight that you need.
I would love them to do that. I don't think they are.
No, probably not. No, I'm sure they're going to charge you per piece.
Yes. But they even said to me, why don't you prepare your order beforehand and then we'll prepare it for you? No. I want to go around and buy lots of random little things. For example, I know I need 18 wooden Meeple cows to use for a viticulture expansion I've been looking at. I need some cheese components. And, it's just ridiculous, silly things like that. As a whole, I'm looking forward to the expo. It's just, there's lots of smaller kind of independent, obviously I'm looking forward to seeing the big people, of course.
Yes.
But I like the idea there's lots of little smaller people who sell weird, quirky things. We've been talking a long time about getting our own dice trays because dice trays are great.
Yeah, and we have one that we use quite often, but we're quite funny. We like to theme things for stuff. So I either want ones that are like sort of tailored for each of us, or we need some that are like space themed. We need some that are fantasy themed. We need some that are like vineyard themed or Japan
very niche
themed or whatever.
Dice tray.
We're going to have like a whole Kallax of dice trays soon. But no, we probably won't go that far. Maybe. But
things like that. I mean, things I'm not necessarily planning to buy, like a dice tower. We don't have it. We've got various games have them. Overboss has got one. Wingspan's got a fantastic one. But it'd be nice just to have a generic kind of dice tray because it's easier than rolling dice sometimes, and particularly D4s. The triangle ones don't roll at all, but in a dice tray they do.
Yeah.
So picking up one of those would be nice. Even if it's themed around, a UK board game exclusive, or even if it's branded in that way. So it's like, we got that at that expo we went to. Would be nice. I'd like to get another player mat or individual player mats.
We played Eclipse the other week and on a sort of space themed mat, and that was quite nice because our gaming group meets in a pub. And so, obviously they clean the tables and stuff, but sometimes if you're feeling precious about your new game...
Yeah, if you've ever been to a British pub, things are still sticky. They could clean those with nuclear warheads and it's always going to be a bit sticky. And I'd rather not have our games getting sticky. I don't mind a player mat getting sticky, but...
No. Because it's the underneath. So.
Yeah, that'd be fine. So I think we need like a fantasy one would be helpful, or we've got a space theme one, but more generic one would just be quite useful.
Yeah,
it's in preservation of these bad boys. That's what I want. I just don't want them to get sticky. It's a good investment.
Well, and it adds a nice sort of extra feel to the evening, makes it feel a little bit more special. So like sometimes the little things add a lot, I think. So that would be fun. And I'm actually sort of changing my tune a little bit, interestingly. So previously when you talk about sort of box inserts and things, I would have been really reluctant to spend extra money on just basically cardboard or plastic to go in to contain stuff, because I can be a bit of a Scrooge sometimes. And I'm all up for paying for expansions and having extra content, but do I want to pay money for a storage system? And I think we're getting to the point in the collection where the lower shelves are filling up too. There's not a lot of space left. We have quite a few games with expansions that take up a lot of space. Dinosaur World, for example. We have the Kickstarter one. It's got the 3 packs of the different, like the hybrid and the water dinosaurs and everything that come separately. They don't fit in a flush line with the other box to sit all nicely. They're sort of a bit of a random shape in that way.
Looking at it now, it's all just kind of on the
there's
shelf.
One behind that doesn't quite fit and stuff like that. And it's games like that take up quite a bit of space on the shelf, but also that have quite a few things that could really do with some sort of organisation to make it really easy to get it to the table. Because I think games that we love, but then are reluctant to get to the table because of the time and the organisation involved. I'm more willing now, I think, to spend that little bit extra on them, to love them that little bit more, to make it easier to get to the table, and then we'll play them a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a good investment. In the same way, getting an expansion for a game you've got a bit tired of rejuvenates it. I mean, games, we love Arnak, that's not a secret, but just having an ability to put it down and get it out super, super fast would make that more fun. That would make it more accessible, I suppose, to fit into an evening where sometimes we are, like Dune Imperium, for example. We've got little tubs in there, but it's still...
And they were just cheap, like pound shop type mini tubs, just to organise it ourselves. But, a proper one where someone's designed it specifically for that game just makes quite a bit of a difference. And I think that I probably will almost definitely, if they have it in stock, Folded Space do a lovely one for Bitoku. Yeah. And I think that will make a difference. I mean, it looks quite beautiful anyway, which adds something.
There's a lot of stuff in Bitoku, so being able to just
all the little tokens and everything just organised and easy, and you're not having to flip them all up the right way because you have to put them in a baggie or something like that. Then I just think it will make that better. So I am looking for some of those sort of extras, like the insert type stuff, but I know Folded Space are going to be there, so I'm really interested to see how some of those look. I've done a bit of research online, so that comparison and things, and see what we come away with there.
Well, I'll be swinging by to get those X-trays. I know that they've been listed as being available. And similarly, we can just have those on the table, make it easier to play games rather than piles. And
we have quite a few like specific component trays for quite a few games. We sort of store them in with that game, but I think that we need quite a few extras for just the random games that whenever you're playing, you just sort of can empty them into them. We don't really have a lot of spares.
We've just got Wild Serengeti, and in that there's lots and lots of counters really, which get distributed amongst the players. I don't want an insert for it because the one that's in there is fine for what it is, but just having something we can put on the table and then pour the components in to make it accessible for all the players, I think would be really useful. In terms of getting things to the table quickly, having a dedicated board game table is going to be it's something we've talked about. I think anyone who's played games as their main hobby at some point have said, "My darling, shall we invest in a board game table?" We have a lovely table.
I upcycled it, obviously.
At some point, we're going to want a board game table, and I've seen them all over the internet. We've talked to carpenters about whether they can make one. But if we are there, I've never actually sat at one. And some people say, they're too high because of the recess and it's not comfortable to sit there to eat. Now, I just want to sit at one before we spend a huge amount of money on buying a purpose-built one.
Yeah, and I think also it's important, we play some quite big games. So when you're talking about different dimensions and things, I want to be able to visualise the size of the table that we would need. Like we have a reasonable size table at the moment, and sometimes it is quite full, and then when you take in that section that's sort of raised up for cups and holders and trinkets and all of that sort of stuff, what's the actual gameplay area compared, and then how would that fit? And it's sometimes so much easier to visualize that, isn't it?
This is one of the reasons for me to want to go to the expo. We see them on Kickstarter, but we've never bought a piece of furniture just by someone saying you want this in your house. So to sit at it and see if it will fit in with what we have.
Even things like wood tones, it's so difficult to tell on a screen versus in person actually which ones are kind of going to go with the decor that you already have, and are you going to get the exact right shade.
Yeah, and if you're spending that much money, I want to see. I want to touch the merchandise before I hand over the cash. So yeah, there's going to be some board game tables there. Let's have a look at them and see if that actually is something we need in our
and
life.
at least then we can compare with, what's arguably some of the best in the industry versus, different options that we have out there.
If we can have them made cheaper, then great. But if we look at these and go, wow, I can see where the money's going here, then great.
Another thing was the bring and buy. I'm actually really excited for the bring and buy.
Yeah.
I want to rummage through things, hopefully maybe Kickstarter versions of games that people might have, finished with, or then realise they're not really for them, and games that I've probably thought that I wanted back at the time and then missed, or that kind of thing, or just old classics that we haven't gotten around to. It would be nice to rummage through and see what bargains are to be had. So I am quite excited for not just the new games on the stands, but also what other little hidden gems that we can get hold of.
Yeah, because we went to a bring and buy at a local board game cafe, and there's loads of quirky, bizarre games there. So if we're just magnifying that to, the amount of thousands of people are going there, there's going to be some really obscure titles, maybe even some we've seen on lists and thought, well, we're never going to get hold of that because it's not available in this country. So hopefully, I got the impression that we need to get there early doors to get snag those bargains.
Yeah, I feel like let's go there like first thing every day.
But talking about quirky things, that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to. I think about the expo. Obviously, we've talked about smaller kind of artisan selling dice tower, but just smaller games. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the big ones, but I want to be surprised. I want to walk around and go, how have I not heard about this game, and how is that not in our collection already? This is a game that feels like it's designed for me, and I didn't even know it existed. I want to be kind of caught off guard and go, wow, I found a new favourite game that 2 hours ago I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, that would be fun, like some of the launches or people sort of with their new ideas and stuff there, just sort of seeing what's sort of coming up and coming and things.
Yeah.
And that would be so fun and hopefully have a play. And there is an area actually where you can sort of play test games that are sort of still kind of in the ideas phase, and that could actually be quite fun. Ones that sort of look like they might sing to us and just have a play at someone's idea that hasn't actually been produced yet. So that could be a lot of fun.
We talk a lot to Stuff by Bez online, and she does some really bizarre games that I think I would never have known about these if I hadn't stumbled across them. That's the sort of thing
that you want to see. Yeah, exactly. And I love how the title of the game is like the description of what happens.
Like, it's a game about. Okay.
So quirky and fun. Yeah, so that would be really interesting to pop by and see.
And sure. That being said, if there are big games that I've been on the edge of, Kickstarter games are not cheap, partly because of the postage. But if I'm sitting down and I'm playing a game, I'm road testing a game, and then I go, okay, I should have bought this. I should have backed this on Kickstarter. Or, alternatively, this is why I didn't buy it on Kickstarter. It isn't quite for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes it's nice to get that validation, even if it is that in the sort of negative, it wasn't for me way. But for me, it tends to be the other way around, and it's like
you've got quite a long list of games that have been on your radar that you're hoping to road test.
Oh gosh, you've probably heard me before say that I've got more than 100 in some of my wish lists for games that are sort of on my radar things. So there's loads of things that I'd like to play that I haven't had a chance to yet, that if we see them in the games library or someone's brought them along, like that's going to be so fun. I'm really hoping to try a game of Arcanova if someone has it. I don't know if I know a lot of places are out of stock. I don't know when any of them have sort of reserved copies just for the expo. They may have, but I think most people seem to be saying that stock's coming back in later in the month. But it would be really nice if I get to play, from a library, or if someone's brought a copy along that had it previously, to play Arcanova, because I'm really excited about that one. That would be good. Games like Vindication, again, it's not one that you can easily get hold of retail. So if someone has a copy and would like to play,
you can find out.
Find me.
Yeah, find out if that's that actually for you, and
Yeah, and games that have had quite a bit of buzz recently that again we didn't back, like Radlands. I've really thought about, but which version? I mean, obviously I always want the deluxe, but I'd really like to try that because we play a lot of 2-player, so that's interesting. There's a couple of sort of Alice in Wonderlandy. There's Wonderland's War and Paint the Roses. Both of those seem like super fun themes, and I'd be really interested in. So if there's any of that sort of things around, I'm also the expansion for Red Cathedral will be there at De Vere. So I'm interested to see that and see how that works in with the game. So I mean, I could go on and on,
well,
but there's quite a few that I'm really interested in seeing some details of and seeing if I definitely want to.
Well, there's some.
Into the shelves,
we've played some games that I just haven't gelled with me that I thought I would love. Chess style games, 2-player chess style games. I don't enjoy playing, and some of these I've looked at on Kickstarter and thought, oh. This could be another example of one of those games where I lose, I've got no idea why I've lost, and I don't enjoy playing them. Or alternatively, it could be a 2-player game I really do enjoy.
Yeah, because it's funny because there are games that we've spoken about Wingspan before, and at the beginning I think I won about 19-0 before you started winning any games. So it's not just that if you lose you don't like it. There's a certain element of you can't work out how to do better or what you've done
if I
wrong,
lose, even though I thought I played that as well as I could, they're the games I don't like. So
yeah, and it tends to be that chessy style, movementy, those kind of ones.
Yeah. So some of the games are on my radar that I've watched on Kickstarter but not backed, just to play those and go, actually, it's not what I feared. It might be, it might be too late for some of these, and I'll be paying a fortune getting them secondhand. But at least I'll know then that this game that's worth.
They might be the bring 'em by.
They may be. Maybe they'll be
knows?
there. And finally, there's certain games that I'm really, our favourite games. You hear about promo cards.
You do.
And
yes.
I don't know if there's going to be any at UK Games Expo, but if there is, I'm going to be hoovering those up like some sort of promo card hoarded fiend.
And you're going to come back to the hotel and show me all the promo cards of all the games that we don't own, and then the next day we'll be going there to buy the game to match the promo card.
Yeah, this might be an expensive investment. So yeah, I know Czech Games Edition are going to be there because I'm really excited about their Nothing Like Star Trek Space Captains, I think it's called. That looks right up my street.
That'll be fun.
Takara Jiro is going to be debuted there. So if
I'm assuming they might have some Namiji stuff there because they've got the Tokaido thing, so that would be interesting because I had sort of pre-ordered some of that before, but it was delayed for so long that I had to change that out, so I haven't actually re-ordered that. So I really want to see that because I think that do I need that and Tokaido?
Yeah.
I mean, probably it's got boats in it. But
we play a lot of Tokaido. It's okay for 2, but Takara Jiro looks perfect for us. If they have something that we can take away because it's not available yet, to wet the whistle, to get us more in the mood to back it or to buy it when it comes out, I'm happily going to take that. I just want... I want to feel a bit special, really. I want to have something that other people haven't got because they've gotten to the UK Games Expo and they haven't. I always feel envious when people have that because they've been to Essen or to an American show that we can't possibly get to. But yeah,
I really want to walk around the halls and think, oh yeah, I've seen everything there is. Like by the end of the weekend, like you've had a look at everything that everyone's got there, and you've met new friends, you've played fantastic new games, and I'm hoping that we're going to come away with so much content and things to talk to you about that it's going to be overwhelming.
I think you can tell our excitement. But if you factor into any of this and you do see us there, please do come and say hello, because we're always keen to play with new people and share experiences. And hopefully, if you've been watching this channel particularly and you've seen our tasting games and you go, oh, by the way, head over to that stand, that's going to be right up your alley, please do come and say hello.
Send us tips for sure.
But if you are new to our channel, like, comment, subscribe, the usual YouTube fun and games.
Where are you going? Are you coming to UK Expo? What are you excited for? Where should we definitely head to first thing in the morning, the second the doors open?
Well,
let us know.
Any tips? Like I said, it's our first Board Game Expo, so how do we pace ourselves for this? Are we going to burn out after one day, or how do we get the most out of this? Any tips would be very much appreciated. But till then, hopefully we get some UK Games Expo content up, and we're going to be
Yes.
filming while we are there. So looking forward to that. And yeah, hopefully you are too.
Bye.